Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. The Rolling Stones have literally just announced the upcoming deluxe super edition of their 1976 album, Black and Blue. Let's go over what they say it's going to include and perhaps what us super fans would have hoped it would have included. Okay, it's coming out on November 14th. There's going to be a lot of editions. It says featuring a brand new mix, unreleased tracks, studio jams, and more. Pre-order now. They gave a little hint of what the vinyl would look like if you get like the picture disc. Looks pretty cool. But I want to go over the Super Deluxe Edition, which is the version that I would be getting. And I'm going to be talking about the 4 CDs and the 1 Blu-ray audio disc. So we'll see what's on that. Okay. So first of all, I guess the big news, it's Steven Wilson is doing a remix of the album. I think that should be actually pretty exciting. Black and Blue is a fascinating Stones album, which is why so many fans like me were excited about the Super Deluxe. Unique time in Stones history, you know it. Mick Taylor left the band, and they really were without a guitarist when they were recording it. Now, of course, Ron Wood is on the cover because he played with the band live in 75 and 76, did a really fine job. But if you ever go through what was actually on Black and Blue, Ron Wood is very much really not on the album too often. All the great guitar work to a certain extent, those beautiful lyrical leads you hear are Harvey Mandel right there and Wayne Perkins. Where is Ron Wood? Well, you can see him on track 3, Cherry O Baby, on electric guitar. Otherwise, that first side, you don't really see him featured. Okay, let's keep going. Side 2, Hey Negrita is all Ronnie Wood. He probably wrote that lead lick. It's a great lick for sure. You can see him on there. And then you may have figured he was in Crazy Mama, but he's not. That's actually Mick and Keith. So Ronnie Wood barely featured. Really, Hey Negrita and Cherry O Baby, as far as guitar work goes, you really don't see him anywhere else on the album. But by the time that they were releasing this album, he was very much in the band after the really fine job he did on the 75 tour and the 76 tour. I have been quoted as saying it's the best lead guitar work that Ronnie Wood ever did with the band. After that tour, they pretty much went to that guitar weaving. You could really hear it on Love You Live. There's some really fine lead work. I mean, it's not Mick Taylor quality, but listen to his lead guitar solo and you can't always get what you want. Possibly the best he ever did. And the Stones did not disappoint with the El Macambo show, which features a lot of Black and Blue stuff on there. This is one of my favorite Stones releases, favorite live albums. And Roddy's playing really, really well there again. So Black and Blue, fascinating time. It's a great sounding Stones album, but I'm definitely looking forward to hearing what Steven Wilson's going to do with it. So you're going to get 4 CDs. One is the Steven Wilson remix. That should be really interesting. Disc number 2 is the one that I'm mostly looking forward to. I know you can't see it, but there's 6 tracks on it, and it's outtakes and jams. One of them is called I Love a Lady. Now, that's kind of interesting because if you're a big Stones fan, you probably have, like me, a lot of Black and Blue stuff on bootleg from that era. And here's one that I have called From Rags to Excess. This is Black and Blue outtakes and demos on 2 discs. And there is I Love Ladies, they call it right there. I guess the official name is going to be I Love a Lady. Interesting bootleg track. It's mixing in falsetto, very soulful, very un-Stones-like, but very rough. So when the Stones do these outtake bonus tracks on all their Super Deluxe editions, they're all new recordings. They take the basic stuff from here, and then Mick does new vocals and new lyrics. I am sure this I Love a Lady is going to be very different than the bootleg version I have, which is very raw. So that should be interesting. Shame, 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 you could check out. It's already on YouTube. That's a cover version of a hit that I was not really aware of at the time. It is so, this is a fascinating time with the Stones. They're all over the place musically and stylistically. And that's Shame, Shame, Shame's almost disco-y. Again, falsetto. Kind of a, you can clearly hear Mick has overdubbed current vocal style over the original one, but it's a kind of a cool track. It's funky, it's soulful, it's falsetto, and he's got modern vocals on there. It's pretty cool. I think a lot of people might like it. But on this Super Deluxe box set, there's really only 2 songs. I Love a Lady and Shame, Shame, Shame. I am loaded on bootlegs with outtakes and unreleased tracks. Cellophane Trousers was a great riff that they later formed as Too Tough on Undercover. I love when they do that. You have the bootleg versions, and then years and years later, the songs show up in as a new song on another album. And there's lots of examples of that through the Stones' history. Black and Blue Jam, which I have on bootlegs. Here's Laid in the Shade. Black and Blue Jam became Slave on Tattoo You. And of course, Tattoo You featured Worried About You, which is also a Black and Blue original outtake. Here's another bootleg, It's Only Rock and Roll. And here's some Black and Blue stuff there. There's Cellophane Trousers, Worried About You, Munich Reggae, Hand of Fate, Slave, Crazy Mama, Hey Negrita. There's tons of unreleased and jams and things like that are out there. And at least song-wise, you don't see it on here. On the new release, there's 2 songs. Other than that, you got the Rotterdam Jam. I don't know what that's going to be, and that's with Jeff Beck and Robert A. Johnson. And then the Freeway Jam, well, with Jeff Beck, that could be really interesting because Freeway Jam's an incredible Jeff Beck classic. I can't even imagine the Stones playing that. And is that what that is? Maybe. And then there's a thing called Blues Jam with Jeff Beck. That could be interesting. Chuck Berry style jam with Harvey Mandel. All of that stuff should be really interesting. I had said that when the Stones do this box set for Black and Blue, I hope they release a lot of the jams with Jeff Beck. That's could be priceless type stuff. Harvey Mandel. It's going to be great to hear those jams. But no doubt that a lot of us Stones fans, we want to hear unreleased songs and the bedrock of songs that later became other songs on other albums. Maybe in these jams we'll hear that. Trying to keep an open mind, but we may have to keep these bootlegs because it may not actually be on the deluxe edition. In addition, Disc 3 is going to be, Disc 3 and Disc 4 are 2 CDs of the Earl's Court concert. Interesting choice because there's a lot of professionally shot shows from that time period. And there's a lot of bootlegs of them. Perhaps most famously is the Paris show, which not only is available in great quality on bootleg, but it's also was professionally filmed. And it's available on bootleg DVDs. Here is Au Abattoir. And this is the Paris concert. I was sure they were going to release this whole show in this box. They're not. They're releasing the official TV broadcast version, which I already have on this bootleg. That's that first disc through track 15. But there's raw non-broadcast stuff that's on bootleg. It's not going to be on the box set. So you're not getting the whole show on this box. And the big question is, when you look at the Blu-ray, it says Blu-ray audio. I'm assuming that they're going to release on the Blu-ray the actual film. We have it available on bootleg. It better be in this box, and it better not just be the audio. It's not confirmed. It just says Blu-ray audio. So hopefully this Au Abattoir, which is just a TV version, those 15 tracks, is the video. Let's keep our fingers crossed. It's a great show. After that on the Blu-ray, you get the whole audio of the 1976 Earl's Court show. It's an interesting choice. Like I said, there's lots of bootlegs from the 76 tour. Ronnie's playing good lead still. This is one called Live in Europe. And here's another one, a different Fran show. So for me, I'm actually kind of psyched. We'll have the Earl's Court show. And I have it on vinyl called Have You Seen Keith Standing in the Shadows, but it's not the complete show, and this is not perfect sound quality. This, obviously, when the Stones put it in the box, it's going to be perfect sound quality. It's the typical set list, which is great. I do wish, the problem is the France show has Angie, and it's always great hearing Angie live, and you don't get Angie on that many Stones live albums. It's not in the Earl's Court show. They didn't do Angie for some reason. The other interesting thing is the Earl's Court show at that time in '76 got pretty bad reviews, and the sound quality in Earl's Court apparently was pretty atrocious. And the Stones came back, of course, after that, and they did Nebworth, which is what this bootleg is. And Nebworth, and I have it on bootleg DVD, Nebworth was one of the longest shows they've ever done. They got on really, really late. But it was professionally filmed as well, although not all of it is available on bootleg DVD. None of it is appearing in this black and blue box set, unfortunately. And the thing is that the Nebworth show had some really cool cuts that only were performed there. Around and Around, Little Red Rooster, Stray Cat Blues was on there, and Wild Horses, Route 66, Dead Flowers, Country Honk. None of these were performed out on the 76 or the 75 tour. Only at Nebworth. To me, it's heartbreaking that they're not putting those really rare performances in this box. They should have, in my opinion. Earl's Court is a standard 76 tour, and it doesn't even have Angie. So a little bit disappointing, but not disappointing in the fact that I don't have that complete show. I only have it on that bootleg vinyl. So, the live show, I'm interested to hear the Earl's Court show, but I would have liked to hear some of these deeper tracks from Nebworth, and Angie from Paris would have been nice. Let's hope, again, that Blu-ray has video of Paris. There's tons of bootleg stuff, of documentaries from that tour. Apparently none of that is going to be in this box set as well. And the 2 CDs in the box are from the Earl's Court show. So, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the Steven Wilson remix. Disc 2 should be really interesting and really cool. I was hoping it would be jams with Jeff Beck and Harvey Mandel, and it's there, but we're seemingly only getting 2 songs. I Love a Lady and Shame, Shame, Shame. As I mentioned, there's tons of stuff that they could have included. And there was one other idea that I had come up with, and I mentioned in a previous video, that I thought would have been really fun. Black and Blue is one of the only Stones albums, studio albums, that they've performed every song live. Believe it or not, there's not that many Stones albums that every song has been performed live. Black and Blue is one of them. And I would have loved to have had a live CD of Black and Blue live. And they could have cherry-picked, great versions of each song from all the different years where it was performed, and just have Black and Blue live on that. How cool would that have been? I'm desperate for a really good version of Memory Motel. No Security's got the one with Dave Matthews, which I can't stand. And Memory Motel is one of my top 5 favorite Stone songs. It is Memory Motel is on one of the archive live releases, but this would have been a good place for it. And that's something I would have really liked, is Black and Blue live. Boom, boom, boom. But no. So let's try to keep a positive attitude. I am glad I got all my bootlegs, because this mega box set is not replacing the stuff that's in the bootlegs. And I'm wearing a Who shirt to kind of rub in. Now, obviously, the Stones are by far my favorite band, much more than the Who. But the Who box sets, these super deluxe box sets I've shown, are incredible. The Kinks ones are incredible. The Beatles ones are incredible. They go into take after take after take. And the Stones Deluxe Editions, man, they just, I don't know. What do they feel? The Stones fans can't handle, alternate takes and unreleased tracks. This whole box, you get one disc truly of unreleased stuff. And it's mostly jams, it looks like. I just would have hoped the bootleg stuff has such great stuff available. It could have been on there. And the Earl's Court should be a good live show. But like I said, they're not including Nebworth at all. And hopefully the Paris show, which is, they're not showing the complete version, hopefully that's not just audio. Because if that's just audio, that's going to be a real bummer. Because it's available on bootleg video. Let me know your thoughts. As always, I appreciate your comments. I am excited for Black and Blue, but, listen, I guess if you're a casual Stones fan, you don't have any bootleg stuff, then you won't be, you don't have much in the way of expectations, maybe. Alrighty, Let me know what your thoughts are. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will check you out next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.